Welcome, welcome, welcome to episode 31 of The Save State. So glad to be here tonight with the returning, my dear friend, Yugi601.
What's up, friends? It's good to be back as always. Appreciate you.
Hey, what's that
Telling you,
shirt
man.
say? What's your shirt say?
Oh, it says disciple.
That's
Yes, sir.
backwards.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Luke 6:40. Someone in training to be like Jesus. It just
Okay.
came in the mail, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna show it off. You know what I mean?
Love it.
We out here.
I love
Wise
it.
Disciple. Great YouTube channel, by the way. Check it out. Anyone
Okay,
watching?
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it called? Wise Disciple?
Wise
That's what you
Disciple. Yes, sir.
Cool. I haven't heard of that one. That's
He
cool.
has the Yugi endorsement. Not like I'm anyone important, but
And for the first time on The Save State, Chris from Dad Life B5. How's it going, Chris?
welcome.
Doing good. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, man. We're going to be talking some video games. Maybe we'll talk a little VR at some point too. I know that's kind of your thing over there on your channel,
Nice.
mostly.
Right now, yep. Loving the VR.
I saw you put out a video today or yesterday about VR, how to best play VR with your kids. Is that right?
I did. Yep. That was my last video that went up this morning. Yep.
Gotcha. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, unfortunately. Been busy working all day, but I'm going to be checking that one out soon. Sounds good to me. I like just like playing games with my kids, right? Playing video games with my kids, and so looking
Best thing
forward to
ever.
some of your tips and tricks there.
Yeah. Well, I love, obviously I'm a big gamer, but as as a parent, sometimes you deal with that like dad guilt when you're spending too much time in your hobbies, like you feel like you're taking time away from your family. So anytime I can incorporate my kids into my hobbies, it's a win because, it removes that dad guilt. I don't feel bad doing something I want to do if I'm doing it with my kids. So I was hoping the video maybe would help some of the gamers out there get rid of their parent guilt, from getting to spend more time with their kids.
Yeah. That's great. I like it. Can I ask you a question? And I've been wanting to ask you for months now. What is
Sure.
the B5 about? Dad life, I get that, but what is B5? What is that?
We need to know.
Good question. So the B5 is it stands for my family. So my last name is Boutner, which starts with a B, and there's 5 of us, me, my wife, and our 3 kids. So B5, and then it's kind of the name of our little production company that we have. That we produce like card games and things like that. Nothing major. We're very small, just getting started out. But the B5 stands for my last name and then the 5 members of my family.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
we just can't have any more kids, or I'd have to change the name. So hopefully the plan is no more kids, so we can keep it B5.
I didn't realize you were in the card game business over there.
Yeah, we like
Imagine.
in the little independent publisher. I designed a card game a couple years ago, and then life happened and haven't really made anything since then. But the plan is to get back to it, by the end of this year, making some new
Somebody
stuff.
say
So
card
hopefully-
games.
Yeah.
Yuki really likes card games.
I really like I would love to hear more about it sometime, man. That sounds really awesome.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have to connect it. I'll show you one day.
Outstanding.
Very good. Very cool. Well, fellas, we got some topics to go over tonight here on the podcast. And one of those is there was this really crazy thing that happened this past weekend. Well, on the 20th. So I guess that was Friday, I think. March 20th, Microsoft accidentally... Wait, I'm jumping the gun. I want to know what you've been playing. I don't know why I skipped that part. We always talk about what we've been playing. So real quick, Yuki, have you been playing anything?
Have I been playing anything? Let me think off the top of my head. I'd have to check my Steam library, but not recently. I think I've been pretty busy. Like I told you guys last time, I was playing Magic the Gathering, talking about card games, right?
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of that. But in terms of like actual gaming, let me think. No, I think I tried to like just for funsies, I threw on Pro Skater because I knew the 3 and 4 is coming out soon. I believe
yeah.
it's this year. if I
right?
remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it's
So
really
yeah,
soon, like in
just for
a
the
couple of
fun
months.
So just to kind of see how it is, and I'm excited for that because if they go this route that they're going, which I don't know, not to go like too long-winded on a rant, but I think it's kind of like at this point, if like we're gonna get games like Concord and like you know what I mean, like Foam Stars, like I'm gonna have to just be okay with like these remakes. I'm gonna be
Playing
honest, you
old
know what I mean?
games.
Yeah, like
Hey,
updated old games. I'm
hey,
okay with it for now, you know? Like
Mhm.
if we're gonna get like butchering of IPs and uncreative stuff and just bad, like I honestly like bring it on. Bring on Underground, bring on, you know, all the
yeah,
Tony Hawk's games. I'll be okay with it, honestly. So
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for the new one. I'm definitely gonna be playing that. But I had to throw on the original remakes. I think it was like 1 and 2. That was a very great game. It's good to just throw on and like listen to the soundtrack. It's fun.
There are so many games, like so many games
Yeah,
that like you can go back and just find old games for days that you
exactly.
missed when they were new, 10, 15,
Hmm.
20 years ago and play them
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
if they never made another new game ever, we would still not be able to play all the games that are
yeah,
out there that
exactly.
are
Yeah,
probably good, that we just
yeah,
never got around to playing. But yeah, no more Concords, please. Just
yeah.
save that money, go build an orphanage or feed some hungry people or something. Like,
Literally. Yeah. Like anything but that, yeah. So if they're gonna do
right.
that, I'm okay with it. And plus, like, yeah, the way they did the last remakes was like literally perfect. Perfect customization, perfect remaking of the level. They didn't change anything too crazy.
Hmm.
Gameplay element was still the same. So I'm excited for it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I
Right.
played it through. I couldn't put it down when I first like picked it up. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
What about you, Chris? You been playing anything?
Yeah, I've been playing a couple things. Well, on the note of VR, I've been playing a game called Star Tender. This is kind of what you just mentioned. It was an older game. It's like, I don't know, probably 3 years old, maybe. And I got it on sale, super cheap. I got it for like $3 on a MetaQuest sale. And you basically are you're abducted by aliens is the concept of the game, and you're forced to be a bartender on like their space station. So you're making like drinks for aliens. And it's like, your classic, like, fulfilling orders game, but it's like this really silly theme where you're mixing all these like alien juices and stuff. And
That's
it's like,
hilarious.
it's weirdly addicting. I really like it. It's kind of just like a chill game. I actually was thinking it'd be like a great game to like live stream because you could like talk to people who join the stream like you're a bartender. So I'm thinking about doing that, But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that one. It's kind of cool. And then been playing on my cell phone another card game. I don't know if you've tried this one. It's Marvel Snap. Marvel card game. I've been playing it for a long time, and I like go through cycles. Like I'll play it for like 2 months, and then I won't play it for several months, and I'm back on one of my streaks of playing Marvel Snap. So been playing that, in between chores and work and stuff.
Very nice.
I think it would be so funny if you did like stream it and like the chat would like role play with you, and they'll come in and they'll be like, "I'm having a rough day."
Right.
Tell
Tell you about their bad day at work.
That's awesome.
That would be funny. Oh man, I finished Avowed.
Nice.
It took about 30, 35 hours, somewhere in there.
Is it worth?
I enjoyed it. It's kind of an RPG light, I would say. Like there's definitely some skill trees, and you do talk to a lot of people, but your choices do affect the ending. So there are multiple endings that you can get to. So that kind of encourages multiple playthroughs, I guess. But I discovered a lot of the map, but definitely not all the map. I didn't do all the side quests or anything, but it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll play through it again anytime, but I enjoyed it at least once, and it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. So I played that, and then I was on vacation all last week. Actually, my family and I, my kids have been learning about U.S. government this year in school, And so we took a trip to DC and stayed with some friends of ours who are stationed there. A family who have kids that are about our kids' age, and he's in the Navy and stationed in DC right now. So we went and they kind of helped us, toured us around and stuff. So I didn't really get to play much of anything last week. Other than I started playing, I can't remember, a Pokemon game, like at night when I was really tired, after walking all day. I can't remember which one it was though. It might have been Silver.
Emulator?
Yeah, just on one of my handhelds that I took with me. It was on the Game Boy Color. I think it was Pokemon Silver. I think.
Over.
I was gonna ask, what's your favorite Pokemon game of all time, Bo? What's your favorite?
Oh man, I don't have one. I'm just old enough that I missed Pokemon. Like when it got big, I was like,
you're too cool for Pokemon.
I was like,
That's
like
crazy.
maybe 7th grade or older. I can't remember. So Pokemon was just like a little too kiddish, and nobody my age even knew what it was. You know, it's like I just missed it. So, but I have gone back and played some. I've tried out some of these, some of the old ones, and it's fun. They're fun. I can't say that I've ever finished one though, so I don't know which one's my favorite.
Dude,
you got a favorite Yugi?
Yeah, Chris, help me out. So the one just for memory's sake is Crystal. For sure, just for memory's sake. But what's the one you may know? There's a Pokemon game where when you beat it, you go to a completely new region after that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I can't remember which one it is. Like I have the problem where a lot of them all blend together for me because they're so similar, you know.
I want to know which one it is because man, as a kid, that blew my mind. I was like, just when you thought you beat the game, it's like, no, now there's a whole new region to explore all over again. I was like, man, this is so amazing. But other than that, I haven't. I can't remember. If I remember the name of it, I would say that one. But just for memory's sake, Crystal, because I remember seeing Articuno, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
On the cover. Oh my goodness. Just seeing that and I was like, whoa, this is something special, you know? And
I must be right in the middle of you and Bo age-wise, because I remember I was like right in elementary school when Pokemon came out. So I was like the target demographic. And I have such good memories with Pokemon, the original Pokemon Red. But I think my favorite's the opposite of the one you were just playing, Bo, is Gold. That's the one I remember. It was like the Silver and Gold came out, and I remember getting the Gold one. And I don't remember why, but I just have like really fond memories of that game. But
was that on Game Boy Color?
I think that was on Color. Yo,
I can't. Silver doesn't sound quite right. Was there a Platinum?
Oh man,
I think there was
all the precious metals at some point. I think.
Yeah, right. They just went down the whole periodic table of elements.
Yeah, exactly.
I know I was playing Game Boy Color emulator, so it was one of the ones that was on Game Boy Color, but I don't remember.
Platinum is a version. It was on DS though.
Oh, it was? Okay, so that wasn't that one. Maybe it was Silver then.
Now it's gonna bother me with 2 regions. I gotta find out which is the first one with 2 regions. I gotta find this out because it's gonna bother me. Gold and Silver, yeah. Okay. So it must have been Silver is what I played, because Silver I think has what's his name, Lugia on it, right? Let me see. Man, am I more of a Pokemon dork than you guys? This is crazy.
Yeah, I think you are.
Definitely more one than me.
That's amazing.
I remember though, I had the original 151 Pokemon like all memorized to the T. Like I had an actual book that was like the Pokédex, and it had facts on all of them. And I remember that I had them all memorized. And I remember my dad gave me a hard time because he was like, you have all of those Pokemon memorized, but you can't tell me all the books of the Bible in order. And he totally humbled me because I knew the Pokemon way better than I knew the books of the Bible in order. But yeah, I was obsessed, but that memory's it's drifted at this point. I ain't got it left.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so Gold and Silver had 2 regions. Platinum or Crystal, Crystal was the one that was in between, because you know how they have 3 versions. So it was Gold, Silver, and then Crystal was in between. Well, it was like a mix of 2 with Articuno, but yeah, it was Gold and Silver. They had 2 regions. It was so cool, man. I love that. You know, And and that's why I highly recommend, like, not to go on this like long rant way off topic, but this is why I actually really recommend some spin-offs of Pokemon, like Nexomon. Nexomon is, I'm telling you, if you guys, it's everything Pokemon should be today. You know, it's just like, I think a small indie dev company was just like, you know what, let's just do it ourselves, since, like, you know, Pokemon seem to have fallen from grace. So they just took like everything that
almost bought,
you know what I mean?
Nexomon 2 or 3 times because of you, man. I've
Yeah.
almost purchased it 2 or 3 times.
Nexomon Extinction, because what they did was, it reminds me of Crystal for nostalgia reasons. It's the same formula as Pokemon, same everything, but then they added a second region for free download. So you basically got a whole expansion, a story that you don't pay for, which is like not what you're gonna get. Where now, like, Pokemon expansions and like first gen Pokemon are locked behind a paywall, you know, so you're teeing off like your old school fans, you know, because they want to like play as Squirtle, but they have to pay like X amount of dollars to do that. Like, that's crazy, you know.
Have you seen, this is not a Pokemon podcast.
Yeah, I know, right? It ended up
giving the wrong impression here.
Have you seen the trailer for the newest one that's coming out? Z to A or Z and A or something like that.
No,
I haven't.
It looks like such garbage. It just looks so bad. Like the graphics,
sad,
the game might be great, but the graphics look so terrible. And I'm like, why can't they get it together? They've been making games on Switch for years now. Why can't they make a better looking game?
Yeah, right. Especially, wait, is it going to be a Switch 2 exclusive thing?
It's on Switch 1 right now. It's like, but they make millions of dollars every time they make a game. Like, why can't they make a better looking game? I just don't understand.
I think that's why, though, is like they know people are going to buy it no matter what, so they just make it as cheaply as they can at this point, just because they know they can print money with the Pokemon label on it, you know.
It sure seems that way. It sure
Joke's
seems
on
that
them,
way.
because I'm only buying Nexomon until they get it together.
Well, not to like spoil the topics we're going to talk about later with like the Switch 2 stuff, but I've always been wondering, and this is the last Pokemon thing I'll say because we can move on.
Yeah,
but
right.
Like, how they have not done a Pokemon massively multiplayer game blows my mind. Like, to me, a massively multiplayer, like a MMO RPG of Pokemon would be mind-blowingly cool. Like, it would just be so cool to be in an open world with a bunch of other players playing Pokemon. But I've been saying that since forever, since World of Warcraft. I remember the first MMORPG I played, I was like, why don't they have a Pokemon version of this? But who knows, maybe one day.
Yeah, that's a great question that I don't have an answer to.
There is no good answer, man. They have no excuse.
I need you to see some of this trailer.
Yeah, let me see. I was skimming through it a little bit, but okay, so what's this like?
Because
but isn't wait, to be fair though, hold on. Isn't Legends like a spin-off series though? Or like not, it's not like mainline series. It's like
it is.
To be fair.
It is.
Okay. Not that excuses it.
But look at just like it looks
mobile.
It looks like a mobile game. And this like the building is like completely flat. Like there's no depth to anything. No. It just doesn't.
And you know, the Switch is capable of decent graphics. I mean, because you can think of like Breath of the Wild, for example.
You can do way more than this.
Even like Xenoblade Chronicles is an anime style that looks way better than this, you know?
Chronicles X, I mean, is a fantastic game and looks incredible on the Switch. But anyway, this just
yeah, Pokemon fans, you need to go on strike. All right, you're getting treated like Madden fans. Don't get the Madden treatment.
Look at that. Oh my goodness, it's atrocious. I can't.
Yeah. Don't accept this, Pokemon fans. Don't.
Oh,
you know,
man.
Do better. Don't be like Madden fans. They're in an abusive relationship.
The source.
All right.
Yeah, for real.
Well, let's talk about Xbox and Steam.
Nice.
For a minute. Oh, come on. I downloaded an image to show earlier. It's not in the right format to share it. Dang it. Just when you think you have it all ready to go, they pull a fast one on you. I'll have to refine this image, but on March 20th, they came out with this post on social media with this picture I'm going to find here in a minute, but it revealed a Steam tab in the UI of Xbox's UI. And it was a mock-up, and the post was titled GDC 2025 Opening a Billion Doors with Xbox. And the image was removed pretty quickly because people noticed, hey, that's not what that's supposed to look like. Why is Steam on there? What's going on here? And so they took it down, but it sparked a lot of speculation. And of course, Microsoft has been changing a lot of things with their whole Xbox division lately. So I guess it's not super surprising that they might be trying to figure out a way to integrate Steam into whatever's coming next for them. However, it's really difficult to just even know. Their marketing has been so difficult to follow lately because they've made, they keep saying that basically everything is an Xbox. Your Fire Stick, your Amazon Fire Stick is an Xbox, and your phone is an Xbox, and your Samsung TV is an Xbox, and everything is an Xbox. And a lot of that's been in a push to get more subscribers to Game Pass, because obviously a Fire Stick can't run these games natively. Like, that's not possible. So all that to say, their marketing has been confusing, and then you add this on top of it. What is the future of Xbox? What is going on with Xbox and Steam? That's my question.
Yeah.
And how would that even work? How would you even have Steam on Xbox? Would that not cannibalize Xbox store sales if you put Steam on there? And what would be the benefit of Steam to allow that to be on an Xbox? I don't know. Do you guys have any initial thoughts about this while I look for this picture?
Chris, what you think, brother?
Well, my initial thought is that would make me want to buy an Xbox.
Really?
If it had Steam. Yeah, I would love if Xbox had Steam on it. I think from a consumer point of view, I would love it. From a business point of view, though, I don't think it makes any sense for Xbox to do that, because they're going to, obviously any sales that happen through Steam are going to make Steam money. So why would anybody be buying? Steam has the best sales in the gaming industry. Why would people buy games from the Xbox store if they could get that same game or a similar game at a way better price on the Steam store? So I don't see from a business standpoint from Xbox perspective, but from a consumer perspective, man, it'd be really cool to have Steam on Xbox and be able to have the cross-play of the games I play on my PC. Now I can just download on my Xbox and play them on my Xbox. That would be really, really cool. I don't understand what their reasoning would be, though. I think it would really hurt the Xbox brand in the long run. I mean, but maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. That was just my first impression.
I'll be honest. I feel like that it almost seems intentional. It's like they're trying to hurt the Xbox brand. I feel like they're trying to destroy it with a lot of the decisions that they've made the last year or two. But this, from a business standpoint, doesn't make any sense to me either. There's I think it raises a lot of questions. For example, here's one. Right now, to play multiplayer games online, you have to have an Xbox, a Game Pass subscription. You have to pay to play online with your friends. On PlayStation 2, right? It's the same way. On Steam, you don't have to do that. On PC, you don't have to pay an annual fee or a monthly fee to play multiplayer games online. So what do you do with a multiplayer game that you got from Steam on an Xbox? Are they going to get rid of that $60 a year or that $100 a year subscription fee that they've been charging people for decades at this point? Just to have Steam on their homepage? Like,
Mhm.
what do you do? What happens with that? Because I feel like you would have to get rid of that. But that doesn't work with Game Pass, really, with their Game Pass model. So, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't think it would be inherently crazy from a consumer perspective, just like you said, because like if it's one of those things like you log onto your Steam account and then you download it to your Xbox, maybe it's like maybe if they I guess how do I put this? Maybe the way that they would make it like exclusive is like if it's like a Microsoft title or something that you happen to have connected to your Steam account, maybe. But yeah, I really don't see what's the ultimate point outside of like it's gonna be for those ultra casual players who just don't have a computer for one reason or another. They want to be able to like play some PC games with a controller on the couch seamlessly, where they can just download the game, I guess, on like a Steam app, and then just straight up start playing from there. I guess that would be cool for them, but the inevitability is like they're gonna eventually maybe turn to PC gaming, but I don't know. It seems like a very nice thing for a very niche audience. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would
It's very
agree with that.
specific. Yeah, like a
'Cause,
very
like, I think
specific small subset of people who like don't have a PC but they got an Xbox and they're like, hey, why
Mhm.
not? You know? Yeah.
I think that's totally true because I think there is still I think that group of people you're talking about is getting smaller and smaller. But I
Yeah.
think it used to be a much bigger group of people who really were drawn to console gaming because it was just plug and play and you didn't have to worry about the specs of your computer and all of that. But I think that group of people is getting smaller. Like,
Yeah.
our generation and the younger generation coming up behind us aren't as stressed about figuring out the computer specs as like
No.
we used to be. So I don't see,
Right.
like, to your point, that that's a huge market that this would really appeal to, especially now because you can even get a decent gaming PC that could play most things, maybe not on the top settings, but can play most things for around the price of what you'd pay for an Xbox, and it can do
Yeah.
PC things. So it's like if Xbox is just trying to become like a PC for your TV, I don't think that's a smart avenue to go. Like,
No.
I think they're opening up a lot of competition that is already there that really works well and does more stuff.
Exactly. Because
So
like it reminded me because I was actually on a plane ride before I got here today, and there was a guy next to me. He had a Steam Deck, and I was like, man, that's such a like brilliant idea that I think like once they get that technology down right and technology gets better and you can like dock that thing, like it's over, it's wraps. Like what else do you really need? You know, make it like a
Yeah.
Switch, but it's a PC that you can take anywhere and play anywhere. That's it. Like you don't need anything else.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. But my bad, bro. What were you
that's
saying?
kind of that's I don't know. Who
My
knows?
bad, my bad.
That's kind of the point of this handheld in the middle here. That's the ROG Ally, um, from Asus, and apparently Xbox is working on a handheld with Asus to be released at some point. And so, you do have this does run Windows. The ROG Ally runs Windows.
Mhm.
And so you can run Steam on there, or you can run the Epic Game Store, or you can run GOG or whatever. But you can also run Windows. You can also hook it up to a monitor and put a keyboard on it and turn it into a little mini PC. This whole thing is just, and you see, like in this image, you see like there's a tablet over here, there's a laptop, there's a
Mhm.
phone, and then right there in the middle, right next to Game Pass, is the word Steam. It might be kind of hard to make out, but it's there. It's a little tab at the top. Here's another question I have. I had a couple while y'all were talking this through, and now I've forgotten them. But here's another question I had earlier. Is this a way? So right now we see Xbox bringing a lot of games over to PlayStation 5, and including Indiana Jones is coming out pretty soon. I can't remember the exact date, but it's sometime in April. So we're just 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks away. and supposedly it's going to run better on PS5 Pro with some better graphics than it does on the Xbox Series X. So not only is it no longer an Xbox exclusive game, but it's going to run better on a PlayStation 5, which is crazy because
Yeah.
it's crazy because they're the ones that put all the money, up front to pay for this, what should have been an exclusive to be made. But they're giving it to their competitor and it's going to look even better. So that's crazy to me. But, and I don't see PlayStation doing that for Xbox in return anytime soon, right? Like God of War on the Xbox? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. But if Steam is suddenly on the Xbox, guess what suddenly you could play on your Xbox? Spider-Man 2,
Right.
Mhm.
God of War Ragnarok.
Mhm.
Are they trying to force PlayStation to allow games on Xbox by cooking up some kind of deal behind the scenes here? Is it like a low-key way to like not negotiate with PlayStation, but subvert that and just go straight for Steam to get PC ports onto the Xbox?
It's an interesting idea. I think that could be a possibility, backdoor their way to just making it open. But I still don't think that's a smart business move. I think Xbox making a lot of weird business moves because to me, from a console perspective, my entire life of the console, wars, it's been about who has the better exclusive games. Because, Xbox and PlayStation always are competing in, power of who has the better, specs. But it comes down to who has the better exclusives, is where you normally end up, or the exclusives that you connect with. Now, I just don't know why you would choose an Xbox over a PlayStation. If they had Steam on it, yeah, sure, you could maybe backdoor and do it. But I don't know. It's just a weird move to just give up on the majority of your exclusive titles. Look at Nintendo. Obviously, no, that's kind of their thing. Is what keeps them going. Is that you buy a Nintendo for the Nintendo games. Nobody buys a Nintendo for the third-party games. You buy it for the Nintendo games. Obviously, nobody makes games quite as popular as Nintendo, but still, if they just opened it up and was like, oh, we're going to put Nintendo games on Xbox and PlayStation, nobody would buy, for the most part, the Nintendo system. It's always underpowered. So it's like, it's just a weird move. I don't really know what their end game is. If maybe they're trying to just shift to a software company as in the gaming sphere. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
It's very weird. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. I mean, Windows is software. They traditionally have been, for the most part, a software company. Software is what's made them their billions of dollars.
So I have a question for you guys though. Like, I have not actually used the Xbox, Game Pass with the cloud gaming. Have you guys used it? How does it work well? Like, is it viable that they just are going to eventually stop making hardware and just have all their games on the cloud? Like, because that was something that crossed my mind. Like, is it that a possibility? Does it work good enough?
I think with the right connection, it is. Like, I've tried it before on the phone and a controller, and it was pretty good. Now, granted, there was a little bit of lag because for some reason we were playing a multiplayer match, which is probably not advisable. But it was surprisingly crisp. And I think as things get better time and time, internet connections get better, I don't see no reason why it couldn't be, if they figure out some sort of good infrastructure, why it couldn't be viable, and just make Microsoft, like you said, like that, software company in which you can go to play all things. But again, like, I don't know, it's so awkward, right? It's such a weird position to be in. So awkward.
It really is. I have two thoughts. One is that kids now that are growing up now, I think many of them are more comfortable with a touch screen than they are with a controller in their hand. And looking forward, 10, 15 years down the road, maybe Microsoft is thinking we need to figure out how to get these games on a touch screen as much as we can, because that generation is going to grow up and they're going to be the ones spending money on gaming. So that's my first thought, because with Game Pass over the cloud, they even have a section titled Play with Touch, and it's all games that you can play using touch controls. My second thought is that the tech is, to answer your question, Chris, more directly, the tech is not quite, it's like there, it's on the cusp of being there. So if you're playing on a phone, you can, stream like this 720p image or whatever, and it looks very crisp. If you start streaming that to a TV, a 4K TV, though, it's not that great. And you really need to have a really good, your internet connection needs to be really solid, and you have good download speeds. And those are things that aren't necessarily accessible to everyone. There are just some places that just don't have good internet, and so I think that they still need kind of a breakthrough, but for what it is right now, I have used it quite a bit. It does not work well with online multiplayer stuff. It works like with Fortnite. I've played Fortnite on my phone over the cloud on Game Pass. You can do it, but don't expect to win, because there really is just enough lag that you'll end up dying before you realize that you're being shot at. You'll all of a sudden just be dead, or eliminated or whatever. So that stuff, they still got to work some stuff out with that, because right now I don't see it as a viable option for competitive gaming. But it does work, and for slower games, single player games, especially like turn-based RPGs or something like that, it could be great for that, because it's not you can take your time, and it's not as reactionary. So there are certain genres that you can get away with right now, and it'd be pretty good. It just kind of depends on the game and your internet speeds.
Pretty much.
So I don't know. That's that. I don't know what my other questions were about it. It just seems like such an odd thing. I'm not really sure.
One thing on it, I did hear some people on Reddit said this very possibly could also be a very sloppy graphic designer who just made a mistake, because they're like, it could be just they copy and pasted the screen from the handheld and forgot to erase out the Steam section, because the handheld is going to have Steam capabilities. Because if you notice on the background there, it does say action adventure twice, so it's clearly just like a mock-up that has some errors on there. So there is always the chance it was just really poor work on graphic design. But I have a feeling it's not. I have a feeling it's a legit leak, but there's always that chance it was just some sloppy work.
That might be true.
Possible.
That might be true. I know that companies like this, big companies, like, they don't just have some intern that goes in and posts stuff for them. Like, they run all these things through their legal department. That's my understanding anyway. And so I would be really surprised if this made it through legal as just a sloppy mistake on some, intern's part or something that was copy and pasting things. But who knows? Who knows?
You never know.
I don't know. I tell you what else, though. I don't like that font at the top, opening a billion doors with Xbox. I think it is so generic and just lame. And somebody could do better than that. This was made by, it looks like it was a pre-made thing in Canva or something. I don't know.
This is one of my thumbnails on YouTube, man. This is terrible.
Yeah. $1 billion is crazy.
But I don't know. That's pretty much it, I guess. On that part, I don't know if it's ever gonna be a thing. If it was a controlled leak, as they say, where they're just trying to like see what people's reaction would be to it or something, or if it's really something that they're working on, or if it was just a mistake. I don't know, but I guess time will tell.
Time will tell.
And it might come to pass that one day where whatever the next gen Xbox is, that it has Steam integration in it, and you can play all your Steam games on your TV in your living room. If you can, Okay, great. I
Yeah.
don't know. And if you can't, well, I don't know. Well, they need to start keeping some exclusives for themselves, or they're not going to sell any Xboxes. That's my opinion, anyway. It is very pro-consumer. Consumers are super happy that everything's
Mhm.
going to be everywhere.
Mhm.
Consumers like that. They don't want to be stuck on one ecosystem where they can only play those games. Like,
Right.
give me more games. But you lose so much competitive spirit between these companies that really pushes forward the innovation and pushes forward we got to make this game good because we got to beat the competition. You lose that when the exclusives go away, and that's what I'm worried about, because we're already seeing some of the laziness, it feels like, or maybe it's some of the greed, or a combination of those two things, causing games like Concord to exist and Foam Stars. We don't need more of that. We need good, healthy competition between these companies that's going to push the envelope, push things forward. And yeah, my personal opinion is that this generation has been kind of boring because of some of the decisions that have been made regarding live service games and things
Facts.
I agree.
which is unfortunate. But all that being said, Steam on Xbox, we'll see. We'll see. So another thing that I wanted to talk about tonight, just this kind of a fun little experiment, I guess, or creative brainstorming session, if you will. We usually have we kind of take gaming news and we integrate it in some way with our faith, and have a discussion about that. But tonight I want to go in a little bit different direction, and I would like to know, I was seeing recently on X, I saw someone that I follow who's in the gaming sphere. They were talking about how they really hoped to collaborate with some people to make a Bible-based game someday. And I thought, yeah, that would be cool. There's like so many stories in the Bible, and so many, even gaming and Hollywood oftentimes borrow things, like certain narrative types from the Bible to make their own stories and their own games. But we don't really often see any Bible-based games. It's very rare. So the thought that I was having here is that if each of us were to create a game, what would we base it on? What Bible story would we base the game on, and what genre would it be? And I don't know if you guys had time to think about that or not, or come up with any ideas.
I did.
Well, cool.
I'm saying that because I
Stop
want to go
there.
first, because if somebody takes my idea, I'll be stumped. So I want to say mine first in case somebody already picked my character, because I was thinking about it and I agree with you. Like, there's so many good. I'm surprised we haven't seen more, and maybe there are some out there that I just haven't been aware of. But like, it's kind of crazy because you have a lot of historical themed games, but you don't see any based off of the Bible. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So doing retro stuff, I've come across several from like the NES days and the SNES days, but in recent years there really hasn't been anything. So anyway, what's your idea, Chris? I'd love to hear it.
Mine would be King David, a game about King David's life. So he has so many cool and almost cinematic things that happened throughout his life. So starting from when he was a shepherd boy fighting off the bears and keeping his flock safe, to obviously David and Goliath, the epic battle you could have there, and then the whole conflict with King Saul, of like King Saul trying to hold on to the kingship, and the battle that happened between them. I think you could have a pretty epic action adventure game that followed the life of King David. So that'd be one. He's one of my favorite characters of the Bible, and his story always encourages me. So that was the first one that popped in my head, and I didn't want you guys to steal it, so I wanted to go first.
I think that's a great pick. Would you make it like third person? Is that what you're thinking? I
would think like a third person, like story driven action adventure game. Yeah, because I think it wouldn't just be straight up action, because a lot of especially with the conflict with Saul, was actually, David's restraint and faith in God, of like trusting in him to handle things. So a story-driven third-person action adventure game.
Have like a stealth section in that part
There,
of the
yeah,
story.
right, exactly.
David creeping through the cave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I like it.
So for me, because let's be honest, like no matter what game you make, someone's gonna be upset. So whatever.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna be angry, and I wouldn't care anyway. I would still do it because I think it's great. It would be like a Skyrim game,
Okay.
but ancient Near East. So
Okay.
think of it this way, right? This is post David establishes the kingdom.
Okay.
You create your character, boom, you pop in. You could either work with Israel, you can work for the Philistines, you can interact with all of them, and it's just like a complete storyline where you kind of just do your own thing, but you still establish. So you know how in Skyrim there was like the Jarl of Whiterun? Imagine you interacting with like King David.
Okay.
And you don't have to, you know what I mean? Because remember, non-Israelites could interact with Israel at any point. So you don't have to ascribe to like the God of Israel, for example. So that's the part that I don't think people would like. I don't think like if people would like side with the Philistines God and like pledge allegiance to Dagon, you know what I mean? They're gonna be like, you're influencing paganism. Like, dude, no, like that's literally what happened. You know what I mean? Like, and then obviously like you would have bandit raids because you have the Amalekites. They were nomadics who constantly raided people. You had Pashus. You had a lot of different Near Eastern bandit groups. They could be like your side quests there where David's like, hey, the Amalekites, they've attacked this town multiple times. I need you to go take care of them. And you can gain favor with David or gain favor with like different Philistine leaders. And then it'll be like a, you know what I mean? Like that'd be pretty dope, I think. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have to,
really cool.
And it's not like super in your face, down your throat religious, but it's there, you know?
I think that would be really cool because I think we have a lot of games that have focused on like the political intrigue and stuff of the Roman era or the Greek era, but there's not really that have ever focused on like that period of time. And there is so much crazy stuff that happens, that it would be a great setting for just kind of that open world game. Like that'd be dope. It'd be like,
like, oh, we've been getting these reports that this weird offset group has been summoning the dead or something, and you go and it's like a complete zombie mission, and like maybe you can like work with David and some of his warriors, hire them, they'll come and help you out or something, that'd be really cool, man. I think that would be enough to where like people of all groups of faith can like get behind, they'd be like, oh, this is pretty cool.
I think you're onto something there.
Right?
So
it's a complete Skyrim ripoff, but I think it would work.
Somebody
sign
this man. Somebody sign this man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think that'd be dope. But
that would be really cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Those are both great ideas. I feel like mine's not as good as those.
Let's hear it.
Mine is okay. So you know how like First Kings, Second Kings, First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, you get like the history again after David. So it's kind of the same time period you're talking about, Yugi, but you go through all the kings, and they all have battles with all of these different nations around them. I was thinking like it could be really cool to have like an RTS game. Like I don't know if isometric's the right term, but like where you select your troops and you say, hey, you go over here or whatever, and you use your resources and all that stuff. And so I was thinking about that and how that could be cool to just like work through each of the battles through those books. But the one thing about that I can't figure out how exactly to do it is, I think again, people would be mad if you changed the endings, like who won the battles. So some battles you would have to lose, but maybe you could do it in a way where it's like, okay, this is what happened and this is why they lost. What could they have done differently to win? Maybe. And maybe, I don't know, you go pray and you get +5 attack or something.
Yeah.
Or instead of attacking the enemy, you go tear down the Asherah poles or something instead. You send your troops to tear them
Right.
down. I don't know,
Right.
but so it needs a little more time in the oven to cook. But I think some kind of RTS game based on the battles through First and Second Kings would be cool. Would be a cool idea.
I think that sounds like a really cool idea. I think you have to be like Yugi though, and just not care what people think, man. You have to just go the Yugi route.
You just have to do it, man. Yeah. Someone's gonna be angry no matter what.
So we
Yeah,
all chose, something from the Hebrew scriptures though. If you were to do
Yep.
a game off of like the gospel accounts, what would you do with that? It'd be, I think that's
That's
a
a
much
good one.
trickier one to work with, right?
That's a
It
good
is.
one.
You
At
could
least
do
from a
like
game perspective.
almost like a Death Stranding style game, but with Paul's missionary journeys.
Okay.
I think that's the one you hit. Yep.
Yeah. What I was thinking was, okay, you guys ever play LA Noire?
I have
No,
a long
I
time
haven't.
ago.
Okay.
I've
Think
seen-
LA Noire, because LA Noire is like, you're an old time detective before there was DNA, before there was all that, and you're investigating crimes and trying to see if someone's lying based on their. Okay, think LA Noire, but you're with Luke investigating everything.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Luke's the main character, but you're following him and you're helping him, and
You
he's
gotta go-
writing notes.
You got to
Right.
go find the eyewitnesses of
Right.
Jesus.
That
miracles
actually
and
would be
stuff.
really a cool.
Right.
That's actually, again, Sony needs to hire you right now. That's a great idea because you could actually have different chapters based on the different gospel writers,
Pretty
and
much.
go
Yeah.
and having them doing their each individual investigation to put together the gospel accounts. That's
Right.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, like you'd have to insert a lot. It would be very much like Chosen, where like you have to throw in a lot of things that like you'd be like speculating they would say. But I think it would be cool if like, yeah, like while you're, because Luke's investigating and accounts for a guy named Theophilus, so that could be like, I can imagine like in the first cutscene, Theophilus is like, and here's my assistant. He's gonna be with you. Don't put him in the, don't put him in the book though. But he's gonna help you, and that's you,
Yeah.
and you're just there just to like make sure he's good, help him out, like just kind of be there, but
Yeah.
you're like the unnamed like helper, I guess. Like that would be cool as heck, because then you can go into all the archaeology
Yeah.
of what like Acts has, and all the towns, and kind of like follow Paul and his thing. And I think it'd be so cool to like walk around ancient Athens and like hear all the goofy stuff that they were talking about, because apparently they were like noted as a bunch of yappers. So that'd be funny. Like you can really have fun with that. I really think you can have
Yeah.
fun with that.
Yeah,
Cool idea.
you could
Yeah.
for sure. You could also go like a complete different route and do almost like a sci-fi action game based on the Book of Revelation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because so much of that is like, I don't even know what to call it. It's not history.
Yeah. Like more.
know,
it's just visions.
There's more. I think there's a little more freedom there to interpret that than there is some of the historical stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you still obviously want to be as true to it as you can be, but I think you could do something there, like how to survive all of these crazy attacks from the Antichrist and stuff like that. Like you got to figure out how to trade with people and.
But
different stuff.
I think you mentioned on one of the podcasts recently, you were playing a VR game that like had something to kind of do with that, right? Like where you were like, it was some kind of like Angels and Demons or something you were playing, Bo. I can't remember what the name of the game was. I don't think it was exactly what you're talking about with Revelation, but it had something to do with like angels and demons.
Yeah, it was in Death Unchained is what
That's right.
I was playing. Yeah. That's more like a roguelite, I guess.
Okay.
Kind of game, but I'm sure there's roguelite opportunities with
Sure.
in the scripture too, of some kind. Yeah. That was it is a game where you're basically you have a bow and arrow, and I guess you're dead, but you're trying to get out of purgatory and into heaven or something. You're taking out demons along the way. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, like I could see like so how if you guys play roguelikes before, like You start off from a certain point, and in the end, it really escalates, and either you die and restart. Like, I could see that where like you go through the chapters of Revelation. You know what I mean? Like, so the first stage is just like the beginning. It's lighthearted. It's just an intro.
Well,
and then, you know what I mean? Yeah.
you could do like have multiple characters and maybe they don't all survive. Like maybe,
Right.
Maybe you lose some of them along the way and you have to play as, you start as Bob and then you have to play as Jim and then you have to play as Kyle.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I could see like every bowl that's poured out is
Yeah.
like representative of a boss fight or something. Like, that'd be
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Yeah, I could see that. You can go crazy with Revelations, man. Woo.
Yeah.
Revelation. I gotta stop saying S before my friend kills me again.
Yeah. Cool. Well, man, y'all had some great ideas. Those are cool.
It's just a matter of time, my brother. It's just a matter of time. Especially a lot of these young believers, man, they're coming up influenced by gaming. I think it's only going to get better, Lord willing.
Yeah,
What I think,
Yeah.
like when we were growing up, there was a lot of, Christians or religious people had stigmas against gaming
Yeah.
to a large extent. And so I think
Yeah.
that discouraged a lot of the content. But now the new generation's coming up, we don't have those same
Dude,
bad
all of
stereotypes
them are
about gaming.
gamers,
So
bro.
I do think the next generation, we're going to be seeing a lot more,
All
Bible
of them are
content.
gaming.
Yeah,
Yup.
just
I'm
the
telling
perception of gaming is completely different from
Yes.
when we were kids.
you. Yes, absolutely. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, like the online interactions that I've had with a lot of the younger folks, I'm telling you, I can't think of one that doesn't game.
Yeah.
Out of like hundreds, they all game, and it's not like a hindrance to their faith. So you're right. Like, they just don't look at it the way that our parents and their parents looked at it. They looked at it as like a big red flag, but now it's just like now their parents are us and we were gamers,
Uh-huh.
they're not overthinking it. So it's really cool. Yeah.
All of the not all of the young ladies in the youth group, but all the young men in the youth group at my church, all of them game.
Yeah.
They all game.
Yep.
And they talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's one way that I can connect with them is at churches to just start talking about gaming, and they're all in it.
Yeah. It's
So,
awesome.
Yeah. There's no telling what would happen in the next 10 to 15 years as some of these kids grow up and get jobs and stuff. We could see a lot more faith-based gaming entertainment come along for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
So I'm gonna get to writing that script. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but you
Oh,
know what I mean?
that Skyrim one, man, that could
Yeah.
be
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I know, because I've been a huge dork lately, and I'm getting into whole like we'll see. I'm gonna start writing some stuff, and maybe I'll throw it out in the world and see what happens. Because I think you can get really crazy with it. Yeah. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks.
That's
Episode 31.
right. We've got it recorded.
We got it recorded. So Lord willing, we'll see.
Oh man. And this was all about like based on Bible stories tonight,
Of
but
course.
you could do stuff that is not based on Bible stories, just made up stories that still teach biblical principles. You can still do something, a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
I mean, the
No,
possibilities are endless.
Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna be a little biased. All right. I'm gonna if I made it and you're dialoguing with like other regions, they're gonna be like, but that God of Israel was something else. I'm gonna be a little. I'm gonna be biased.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I want to have interactions where like there's like people who like still speak about like the Exodus. Like, I'm gonna do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Well, good talk. The last topic for the night is about the Switch 2 and the Switch 2 Direct is happening on April 2nd. So next Wednesday, a week from this Wednesday. And they're going to be announcing games, and I'm assuming a release date of the console. A lot of people are really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. My son is really excited about it. He keeps bringing it up about every other day. He's like, "Dad, how much money do you have saved to get a Switch 2?" Like, about the same amount I had 2 days ago when he asked me. So
you need to ask him how much money he has saved for the Switch.
Right,
2.
I know, right? Not much.
Yeah.
Anytime he gets money, he spends it on something, and just about. But yeah, I want to talk about Switch 2 launch titles. So this could go one of two directions. What I sent you guys to think about was your top 5 Switch 2 games that would make you buy the Switch 2 on day one. What would those 5 games have to be that would just make you, like, you would be salivating to get your hands on this thing? And then I think it would be fun to just talk about, like, what 5 games you think the general populace would want on day one, or what games you think will be there on day one. Either way, but because those lists might be very different based on what you want versus what everybody else might want. They might be a lot different. So do y'all have time to maybe think about that and compile a short list? Anybody want to go first, Yugi?
Okay, Switch 2 that would make me buy it day one. Some sort of Metroid, like a new Metroid, first-person shooter that would immediately get me. Definitely, just for the sake of the family gatherings, a new Mario Kart would be nice, but I don't know. I don't know if I would I need it now though. That's the thing. If it's going to be like that, maybe a new Pikmin, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
it'd be really, really cool.
I hadn't even thought about Pikmin. Yeah.
Yeah. I would really love. I'd have to pray for this one. An actually good Pokemon game, please, please.
Don't hold your breath, Yugi.
Yeah, literally. Like, if they were like, "All right, we messed up. You know, we cleaned it up. It's got like 4 regions. It's all there. It's all from all the generations." I will buy the Switch 2. I will pre-order it right now, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. Yeah.
They had been saying that they were gonna patch some of these for higher frame rates and better textures and stuff, and I was like, I think that the patch that they keep referring to is the Switch 2. It's just like just the horsepower alone is going to give it better frame rate.
Oh my days, man. Yeah, that's literally one of the biggest factors of what would make me buy a Switch 2 for sure, if they actually released a decent Pokemon. I guess my 4th choice would be obviously some sort of Mario. I think like if there was like a Galaxy 2, that would be really freaking cool. I'd be stoked for that. Some sort of Mario Galaxy 2. And then my 5th one would be maybe another Xenoblade. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be everything.
Cool. Well,
good list.
It's a great list.
Thank you.
I think you're going to get Metroid. I think Metroid's going to launch. I think that's the one on your list that you will get.
Oh, that is launching?
I don't know, but
They
they've
haven't
been
said.
talking about it for so long. I feel like they're holding it for the Switch 2 launch. But
I think you're right. I think Metroid Prime 4 will be a cross-gen title. It will launch on Switch 1 and Switch 2. Maybe not on the same day, but within a week of each other. I think it will be a launch day title for the Switch 2 as a showcase.
That'd be great.
Here's how much more powerful this is over the Switch 1. I think that's what they're gonna do.
They did the same thing with the Wii U to Switch with the Zelda game, right? I forget which Zelda. It wasn't Breath of the Wild.
It was Breath of the Wild.
Oh, it was Breath of the Wild. Yeah, they did the same where they kind of released it on both.
Well, they did the same thing with Twilight Princess.
That's right.
Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess from GameCube to Wii. That was a cross-gen release the same day. You're also probably going to get Mario Kart 9.
I think so too. Yeah,
that was on your list, and they showed that in their initial reveal trailer of the Switch 2, they showed off just a couple of brief glimpses of a new Mario Kart game, an untitled Mario Kart game. So we're just calling it Mario Kart 9 for now. But I think that that's definitely going to be a launch title. And I've been saying for at least 2 years, maybe longer, that all they need to do to get people to buy Switch 2 and just sell out of them immediately is just release a new Mario Kart game on day one. that is the only thing they need to do, because Mario Kart 8 is so old.
I agree completely with you, Bo, but my one question is, like, because you're 100, like, Mario Kart 8 was a launch title for the Switch, or close to it. It was like very shortly after it came out, and it continued to be a top-selling game its entire life of the Switch. Like, it is always in the top 10 selling games. But like, what innovation can they really make other than just making it look prettier at this point? Because like, so many Mario Karts, and 8 is such a great game. I'm just curious, is it just going to be a graphical update, or do you think they have anything up their sleeve to like really change it?
Well, you know, like the guys over at like Digital Foundry and stuff, I think they did a deep dive into that. We only got like 5 seconds of something of the from that trailer, but they went in and looked at like how like the carts and the characters like did like a spring effect when they jumped over something and landed, and that Mario Kart 8 it doesn't do that, and and just some different little, like, really nitpicked it, you know, and found some things that it was doing better. So I think definitely a graphical leap. The other big thing was it had 24 racers instead of just
cool.
12, I think is what it is right now. So that obviously is going to, you know, put a little more tax on the system, having more AI racers or just more online racers in general. But as far as what they're going to do to really like set it apart, I don't know. Like you could go the I really want there to be some kind of gimmick, right? Like a double dash.
Right.
Like they haven't done anything like that in a while. But that isn't apparently what they're gonna do. So I don't know. It could
maybe they really like revamp like the battle modes and stuff and make that a more integral, like more interesting. It kind of felt flat in the last one. Like
yeah,
I used to when I was younger, I loved the battle modes, but this on 8, I almost never played battle mode, you know?
Well, I think 8 had better battle mode than whatever the previous one was. Well, the Wii, it was Mario Kart Wii, I guess, because Mario Kart 7 was on DS. I don't know if it had a battle mode or not. Anyway, they could do something, revamp the battle modes, make those more interesting, and I don't know why that hasn't been better anyway, because I mean Nintendo's really creative, but it just seems like an afterthought, like we're just going to tack this on. But I think if they made it really good, I think people would play it. And maybe their research is like, people don't play this as much. Well, yeah, because it's not as fun as just racing. But if you made it really fun, I think more people would play it. But something else I was thinking about is from that trailer, to me, and of course I can't prove it because it's so short. It looked like the roads seemed wider, and maybe that's just because there's 24 racers. Maybe I'm just making it up. I wonder if this is not more of an open world Mario Kart game.
Oh, wow.
More like a Forza Horizon style type thing, where you actually drive through the landscapes and get to the place where you start a race, and then get to an icon or whatever and hit A. Or like recently I was playing Lego 2K Drive with my son, which is a really fun game, but it's open world. So you drive your Lego vehicles through all this terrain, and you have to find different waypoints on the map. And then when you get there, you can start a race or start a challenge or whatever it is. So they could do something like that, which they've never done before, which could be cool. And maybe you have, different maps that you go to that are different lands. Like you've got, like in the Mario movie where they had the Mushroom Kingdom, and then they had, they had that map that showed up for a couple seconds in the castle, Princess Peach's castle, and you had like the Mushroom Kingdom, and you had the Donkey Kong Kingdom, and you had Bowser's Kingdom. So maybe you could go to Hyrule. Maybe you could go to the Mushroom Kingdom. Maybe you could go to Splatoon Land. Maybe you could go to Donkey Kong Land and have different environments that way that you go to and travel to and do different kinds of challenges and races, and something like that could be cool and could be an interesting way to bring in even more characters into the game that they haven't had in the game before. But
I think that's a cool idea. I think that's another way they could, freshen it up, is maybe revamp the single player, because Mario Kart single player has always just been, you do the cups and you see how good you can rank. But if they actually like really liven that up and added a lot more depth to the single player, that could be pretty cool. Yeah.
You could also, if you did it that way, it would be really easy just through some voiceovers even to add a basic storyline of some kind, and maybe even have some boss races where there's a special competitor that you have to race against who's more difficult. Something like that they haven't done that before that I can remember. So, but that would be a really easy way to just differentiate itself from previous iterations and maybe breathe some new life into the franchise. I think that could be cool. Yeah.
No matter what, it's going to sell 1 trillion copies, though. No matter what.
Oh, it's insane. It's sold like over 60 million copies.
Insane.
It's crazy.
And it just keeps selling. Like, the reason we didn't get a 9 in the Switch's life cycle is because it kept selling. If it had stopped selling after the first couple of years of the Switch 1 release, they would have made a new one and put it out. But it didn't. It's just people just keep buying it. I don't understand. But yeah. What about you, Chris? Do you have a list of 5 games that you would that would make you
I'm glad you prefaced it by separating that this is like my dream list, because I think my list is pretty unrealistic. But it would be my dream list. So number 1, I really, really want a Star Fox game. I have such nostalgia. Star Fox 64 was like a milestone in my childhood gaming. Like, I will never forget that game.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've kind of fumbled that franchise. Like, Nintendo does so good with their franchises, but for whatever reason, they've not known what to do with Star Fox, I feel like. So I'd love to see like an updated, on the rails, shooter that also, in certain parts breaks out to an open world where you're doing dogfights and all that. Like, with your 2 wingmen, like I would die for that. Like, I would love it. You add in multiplayer, it would be insane. So like, I think we will see Star Fox at some point again, but as a launch title, I don't know. But that would be like my dream.
Can I ask you a question? Did you play that Ubisoft game that had Star Fox in it by any chance?
The one where you had
Battle for Atlas?
Toys? Yeah, I did play it a little bit. And actually it was cool. I thought it was pretty neat. I didn't get into buying all the different ships, but I actually have the R-Wing on my shelf over here just as like a decorative piece.
I bought it digitally. I bought the deluxe edition digitally on Switch, and I bought it on Switch just so I could play as Star Fox because it was exclusive to Switch. And Yugi, I don't know if you've heard of this game, but it's in space. It's all sci-fi. It's made by Ubisoft, but in the Nintendo version, they integrated into the storyline with their own IP characters that were brand new characters. They integrated a side story with Star Fox, and he interacted with their characters. But then in the Xbox and PlayStation versions, they made the story in such a way that they just were able to just remove Star Fox and still have the same cutscenes. So, but it was really cool because he was chasing after Star Wolf and his goons, and so they had this whole there were a couple extra missions in there that were just based on that. And I played the whole game, but the deluxe version, the digital version, you didn't have to buy all the little toys. You had those already that you could just digitally swap in and out because you could customize your ship. And it was a lot of fun. I played the whole thing. I thought it was gorgeous. It ran really well. It's like, why? Just like,
I agree. Yeah. Why?
Yeah. Give us more of this. Give us more of this. It was so good.
Hopefully we get it. Maybe they let Ubisoft do it. Let Ubisoft do us a Star Fox game. I'll take it. I don't care.
they need some work. They could use the money right now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Oh man.
but also I bought the physical version because the game did not sell well, I guess. And so I bought the physical version with the R-Wing that you're talking about. And I
Yeah.
have it in my office at work, but I bought it for like $2 at Best Buy.
That's how I got
$2.
mine. It was like
Yeah.
$5 in the bargain bin. I was like, it's worth it. Even if the game's
Yeah.
terrible, just for the R-Wing, it's worth it.
Worth it for that's why I bought it. I bought it for the R-Wing and the little
Yeah.
Fox McCloud that comes with it. Anyway, sorry to interrupt your list. I just had to
No, it's
geek out
good.
about Star Fox for a second.
So this would be, I guess, a crossover with Yugi's list. My number 2 is I want a new 3D Mario game. My only caveat to it, I don't care if it's sequel to one or whatever. I just want it to be 4-player minimum because I play the 3D ones with my kids, and we have had so much fun playing those multiplayer that I hope that was my only thing with Odyssey. Odyssey was a really good Mario game, but it was sort of 2-player. Like the second player
Right.
could play as his hat, and it wasn't a full. I mean, it was okay, but I want one more like Super Mario 3D World where you could have all 4 of you playing together. So I would love that just for the co-op, experience.
Yeah.
But Galaxy, if they could do a 4-player in a Galaxy setting, I love Mario Galaxy. So hopefully that would be a really cool one. Or Return to Sunshine. I think Sunshine is really underrated with the jetpack and all that. That'd be really cool. A Super Mario Sunshine too. But I don't know if we'll get that one. And then this one is probably my most outlandish one, but I would really, really want a new IP from Nintendo, and I want a hero shooter from Nintendo, like Marvel Rivals. So like Nintendo Rivals with all Nintendo characters playing like the Overwatch.
you're
style
dreaming.
game. I'm dreaming.
Dreaming big.
Cool.
I like it though.
But
Yeah.
it
That would
could
be
work.
cool.
They could make it more family friendly, and have all the, Mario has his unique thing. All the cast from Smash Bros could be in it as they slowly release the Smash Bros
Okay.
lineup. It would be mind-blowingly cool
Dude.
to have a more family friendly,
MOBA.
but that
yeah.
style hero shooter style game would be amazing. But I'm not holding
Yeah.
my breath whatsoever for that. No.
Well, people keep saying like what are they gonna do with Smash Bros now? Because that they've done Ultimate. What if they did that? What if that was
Right.
the new Smash Bros? What if it was
Right.
a hero shooter?
Right.
That would
I think
be
it's the
cool.
same thing with Mario Kart, though. It still prints, but they'll just redo Smash Bros to print the money. They'll make it prettier and come out with it again, I think. But
Yeah, I guess if they
Nintendo
could do it with
Rivals would
Rivals,
be
they could
sick.
definitely. Yeah, if they could do it with Rivals, they could definitely do it with the Nintendo characters easily.
And if you look at the Smash Bros lineup, they have so many characters. You could come up with so many amazing combos for that style
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But I just don't. Nintendo always seems to. That's why I'm a big Splatoon fan. I really like Splatoon, and I think that's as close as Nintendo will ever get to like a true shooter game. But
yeah.
I think Marvel Rivals shows it doesn't have to be a shooter. Like they can have. It doesn't have to be guns. It can be,
Mhm.
all different.
Yeah,
types
like
of
Mario
powers.
can shoot his fireballs.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
So,
Yeah.
I would
sure.
love that.
That'd be
But
great.
then,
Cool.
My third one's also crossover. My fourth is another crossover, Mario Kart. Just because me and my kids love Mario Kart, so I'm just really curious. I don't want just a reprint of Mario Kart. So I hope they do have something up their sleeve to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And then my fifth is a boring one. But I used to be a huge sports video game player and have really fallen off of the sports game. FIFA and Madden are like 2 of my all-time favorite games. I love those games so much. And because I kind of shifted to being more of a Nintendo gamer once I had kids, those games are so poorly supported on Nintendo consoles. Like, yeah, we got FIFA and NBA 2K, but they were like the gimped version. They were like the old version. They were not the full-fledged new version. So I would really like to just see the modern, up-to-date sports games on there. But like Yugi said, I know they're mostly just remaking those. There's duplicating those over and over. But I've missed out on the last few generations of those games. So I would still be excited to kind of jump back in and play a new Madden on a Nintendo handheld. So that was not too exciting. But I'm hoping now that the power of the Switch hopefully is more up to par, that we get get those sports games again so I can jump back into that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that would be great because I mean that really has been. I'm not a big sports game guy, but that has been sorely missed. I think on Switch and Wii U, neither one got very many sports games. Yeah, that would be good to see come back for sure. So I've got some of the same ones that you guys have, but not completely. So my first one is Star Fox. I do want to see another Star Fox game.
I'm telling you, bro.
It's been way too long. Look,
way too long.
This is not Ice Climbers we're talking about here, okay? This is Star Fox, one of the coolest characters they have ever created.
Facts.
He looks so cool.
He does.
Why are you not making Star Fox games?
It would
do
make
not
too much
understand.
money, I guess. Yeah. They don't like money.
The last one they made was on the Wii U, and it had weird controls, and it was at the end of the Wii U life cycle, and the Wii U didn't sell well, and everybody was excited about the Switch, and so that game did not sell well, and I get that. But don't let that be the reason you don't make more Star Fox games. We want Star Fox. Give us Star Fox.
Yeah. For real.
So yeah, I'm with y'all there. I want Star Fox. I would love to see. I'm a big Splatoon fan as well. I would love to see a Splatoon 4. I don't think we're getting that at launch, but I would love to see one in the first couple of years somewhere. It is what Splatoon 2 is what made me go out and buy a Switch. I was going to wait a year or two before I got a Switch, and then Splatoon 2 dropped, and I was like, nope, can't wait. And I went out and bought one immediately, or as soon as I could find one in stock because they were out of stock. I also expect and want Metroid Prime 4. I think that's going to be there at launch. Here's where my list is going to deviate from you all a little bit. I do not want Mario Kart 9 at launch. What I want at launch is Diddy Kong Racing 2. I don't care what anybody says. It is the superior game, and I want it. I want it so bad. Give me a Diddy Kong Racing 2. Superior.
That's
in every
something
way.
he would say, yo.
I think that might be more of a dream than my Nintendo Rivals game, but I don't blame you.
It absolutely
It's
is.
a great Diddy Kong Racing was awesome, but I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
hilarious.
I also would love to see. I do think we'll get our Mario Kart 9. I do not think we will see Mario Kart and a 3D Mario at the same time. I don't think that they will do that because it would kind of cannibalize the sale of each other. So, but what I would like to see, not what I think is coming, but what I would like to see at launch is not Mario Kart 9, but a Super Mario game that is a sequel to Bowser's Fury, a Bowser's Fury 2. So which would be great if it had multiplayer like you were talking about, Chris. But that game on Switch, it's shorter. It was kind of like a bonus, a pack-in with Super Mario 3D World, which they remastered and put on Switch. And that's one of the remasters they did from Wii U to Switch that I think was really worth the $60 price tag that they put on it, because it had this whole new game. It wasn't just like they added a character in here or whatever. It was like an entirely new game, a totally new idea. And I really like the idea of having kind of like this kaiju Bowser that shows up every once in a while, and you have to become this ginormous Mario to fight him and run from his fire breath and stuff across the land. I would really like to see them expand on that idea and those mechanics there and give us a sequel to that and give us a full-fledged game, because again, it was on the shorter side. So that's one. And then that was 5, I think, but I have one other idea that I would really, really love to see. And I think that this would be so awesome. We won't get it, but it would make me buy a Switch on day one. For anyone who's played Luigi's Mansion, Luigi's Mansion, which it was a launch title on the GameCube. I would love to see, not Luigi's Mansion, but a Luigi's Mansion style game based around Donkey Kong. And so the idea would be that Donkey Kong gets an invitation in the mail from King K. Rool saying, the big crocodile guy saying, I'm sorry I stole your bananas in the past. Let me make it up to you. I want to throw you a banana party, and it has a big cake with a bunch of bananas on it, on the invitation. Big, like that's very Nintendo style type of a letter, right? To send somebody a picture of a cake and say, "Hey, come to the castle." So Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong go to King K. Rool's castle, but it's a trap, and they get trapped inside the castle, and they have to puzzle solve and fight their way through each floor, and each floor would have different bosses, and you could play co-op with another person as Diddy Kong through the whole castle and get to the top of the tallest tower to fight King K. Rool at the end. I want to see that game. That's a game that I think would be super cool. Using a different IP with kind of a Luigi's Mansion style thing, and Diddy and Donkey are different enough that they could have different play styles and different power-ups or whatever to help them solve the puzzles and get through the castle. So a game like that would make me go buy a Switch 2 instantly.
I think that would be really cool. I think Donkey Kong is underutilized. All we've really seemed to get with Donkey Kong are like remasters at this point, like what Tropical Freeze we had on the Switch, and that was a remake, I think, from the Wii U. And then they just came out with the Donkey Kong Country remakes. But I think we're due for a Donkey Kong game. But I would just say I would like a game like what you described, because the Donkey Kong games are such punishing platformers, man. I didn't realize. I just tried to replay through Tropical Freeze with my kids, and I was like, they could never play this game without me. My 10-year-old was like getting wrecked by Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Like it's rough.
It's brutal, man. It's brutal. It's gorgeous,
tough.
And it's like it's fair. I think like it doesn't cheat you out of anything when you're jumping from platform to platform and stuff. But it is hard. It is hard.
Those darn mine carts, man, get me every time. Mine cart levels are rough.
You got to memorize the whole thing to get through it most of the time. Yeah, it's they're pretty brutal. I have 100%ed that game with my wife though, for the record.
Nice.
Haven't played it with the kids though. I don't think they would. They wouldn't be good at it.
Don't do it.
Yeah. What about what are some games you think people would want to buy that would make them, and we'll kind of wrap it up here, that would make them buy a Switch 2?
Oh, for the people?
Or maybe just what 5 games do you think they will launch with? Let's just leave it at that.
All right, I think
4 idea was pretty good. Yeah. I was gonna say that Metroid Prime 4 idea was pretty good. Maybe not launch with, but probably announce some sort of Zelda, right? I think it'd be time for that. Launch with. I could definitely see, obviously. Yeah, I don't know actually, because I feel like a lot of what I'm about to say would be announcements more than launch titles. But I guess Prime 4 for sure. Probably that new Pokemon game, some sort of upgraded version, like you said, just to see the differences, even though, let's be honest, there probably won't be much for that.
Well, if they can't even utilize the Switch 1's power, I don't know how they can utilize Switch 2, but
I can't think of many others besides maybe, like, again, it'd be nice if they had some sort of kart game, some sort of Mario launch title, whether it be a remake or an improvement. And then I kind of doubt it, but didn't Switch 1 launch with a party game? A Mario Party game?
Yeah, not Mario Party.
They had 1-2 Switch. It was like a gimmicky,
something like that.
Gimmicky party game.
Yeah, some sort of gimmicky party game that kind of like shows off its capabilities. I could see that, just to get people invested.
Yeah, I wonder if they will do something like that. Some kind of smaller launch title, like 1-2 Switch is kind of smaller. Snipper Clips. I don't know if you remember Snipper Clips.
That was a fun little party. That was a fun little like puzzle game. I like that one.
Yeah, it was cute little $20 game that was very I don't think Nintendo made. They might have published it. I can't remember exactly how that was, but it was a launch title. I wonder if they will do something though to take advantage of the new Joy-Cons being mice controllers. I
Yeah,
feel like they
yeah,
need to do something to show off, hey, this is how you use this. They
yeah.
usually do something gimmicky with whatever the thing
Like
is that they
like
have.
you think there'd be like some sort of WarioWare or something like that? Like
Oh
something.
yeah, WarioWare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That would
yeah,
be
maybe.
that'd be a good call. Yeah,
yeah.
I actually think they're definitely going to launch with some kind of like mini game party game
Yeah.
title, because it seems like they always like to do that to show off the hardware. I hope
Yeah.
it's not a 1-2 Switch remake, because I
No.
bought both. They had two 1-2 Switch games. I got them both because I do play a lot of party games. Like we have people over, and they're both like one and dones. Like you play them once and you might kind of like chuckle at a couple of them, and they were really not strong replayable games.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
you guys, I don't know if you guys remember, this is like the Wii U launched with one, and nobody played the Wii U. But this game was actually really good. It was called Nintendo Land,
Yeah,
and it
Nintendo
was
Land was
like
great.
Nintendo Land had so many good mini games in it that I would really
Mhm.
like to see them maybe revive that. And they could do some cool mini games like with the Joy-Con as a mouse or different things. But I thought the Nintendo Land was a great showcase for what was cool about the Wii U.
Yeah.
But maybe something like that. But I hope it's not 1-2 Switch again, just because it was kind of lackluster. But I do think I think they're going to do some kind of, not Mario Party. They're going to save Mario Party, but I think they'll launch with some other like mini game
Party game.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
But
Yeah, and
I think-
Nintendo Land 2 could be really cool. Could be.
mhm. Yeah.
I don't
I mean-
really know what they could do with it, but off the top of my head, but they could do something. Could be really cool.
Yeah. For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
I definitely think we're going to see the Metroid Prime. I think we're going to see Mario Kart. And then honestly, I think they're going to count on those two to drive the launch sales. And I think they're going to, like you said, Yugi, they're going to announce some stuff in the pipeline. But I think outside of those two, we're going to get a bunch of like, not filler. I'm sure there'll be some good ones. Like Snipper Clips actually was like a really solid little game. But I think we're going to get a bunch of like smaller, not big IP. I think the two big IP we're going to get is Metroid and Mario Kart. And then I think they'll tease us with the next 3D Mario game or the next Zelda or Animal Crossing coming down the line, whatever the next big thing is. But I think Nintendo normally, to what you were saying earlier, Bo, they don't release too many big games. Like they space their games out because they know one game for them can drive sales for so long that they're not gonna flood the market with their big IPs. So they're gonna
they might drop like one extra banger for like the holidays, and that's all they need. That'll be enough excuses for everybody and their mother to buy it on Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. First party stuff is where it gets tricky for me because they're gonna have something, but how much do they have? I feel like whatever they have has to be different genre wise, pretty different. So I do think we're gonna get Mario Kart 9 and Metroid Prime 4, right? Because those are very different games that appeal to different audiences, and you don't want to feel like you bought two of the same kind of game. So if you're gonna double dip and buy two different things, well, you're safe there, right? Because those are very different games. I think though that we could also see possibly some things that just don't cost them very much that would be evergreen titles. So for example, I think Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, which just today has its 22nd birthday, by the way. It's 22 years old today. Let that sink in for a second. That game already has an HD remaster from the Wii U, but they never brought it to the Switch. It's one of the few games that was on Wii U they didn't bring to the Switch. I think we could see that at launch because it's probably pretty much done. It had a lot of quality of life improvements, and then it would give them a Zelda presence on the Switch 2 on day one that I think a lot of people would be excited about. But then other than that, I am like, it's probably going to see some third-party stuff. And one of the big rumors has been Elden Ring. I think that, man, if they drop Elden Ring on their day one, I think that they've been working on this in the background long enough that we could see that happen. That could be really cool. Because this is, I mean, Elden Ring, if I remember correctly, ran on PS4 and Xbox One Am I wrong about that? I think I'm right about that. And this is supposed to be on par, I believe, with PS4 from what we know so far. So it's definitely possible to see Elden Ring on this.
Yeah.
And then another game I was thinking about that I don't know would make people buy it, but could be a nice game to have on there to showcase the hardware is Assassin's Creed Mirage, which came out last year. And they ported it to iPhone. So clearly it can run on a mobile chipset off of a battery. So I feel like that probably wouldn't be super hard for them to port over to Switch 2. Like, wouldn't require a ton more work. So I could see something like that happening. And then I think they do need one indie banger, and I think it's going to be Silk Song. That game has just been rumored for so long and hasn't come out yet. And so I do wonder if Silk Song launches with that. That would definitely make people excited about the launch of this if you could play Silk Song on day one.
Yeah.
So.
And Star Fox.
And Star Fox, yeah. Don't forget Star Fox.
If only, man.
No, but I do think one thing that would have me excited, because honestly, nowadays I play more indie games than I play AAA titles by like a mile. So I would really like if, as part of their, Switch 2, Direct, they have a little indie showcase of showing maybe some of the top Steam games that maybe they've made deals with to bring over. That would get me really excited. Not any one particular title, but just, seeing like maybe a quick compilation video of some cool Steam games that are going to be on the eShop. That would be something that actually would motivate me more than even some of the AAA titles coming over.
Yeah, for sure. And Switch 1 was such a great, like, indies sold so well on the original Switch. A lot of them sold better on Switch than they did anywhere else. And so I think that definitely we'll see some really good indie games coming to Switch 2. I think it's even possible that we see some stuff like Halo Master Chief Collection come to Switch 2. Xbox has been really friendly with Nintendo the last few years. Clearly they want to be on more platforms. I could see something like that happening. Maybe even Forza Horizon 5 coming to Switch 2. I could see that happening. Maybe not at launch, but sometime in the first year. Just a couple of those older Xbox IPs that I think that the new Switch would probably be able to run. Because the Forza Horizon 5, for the record, is extremely scalable. You can run that on really cheap mini PCs, obviously at low settings and a lower resolution, but it scales really well depending on the hardware. And so I think that that's definitely something that would be possible on Switch 2. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I can't think of anything right now, but I think it's going to be good. And I'm looking forward to April 2nd. I'm probably going to live stream the Direct that day if I can swing it. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what Switch 2 is going to be all about. That about wraps up the show for tonight, though. I think we've covered all our topics, and just want to thank you guys for being here and ask where we can find you. Yugi, where can we find you, man?
Yugi601 with an underscore at the end or by itself on all platforms. Feel free to say hi to me. I will catch you anywhere, really, either here or on my channel or on anything, really. Yeah, just doing my thing, man. Playing games, hanging out, doing podcasts. Check out the last one; it was pretty good. And yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I caught some of your last one. It was good. It was really interesting.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yep.
Liked it a lot. Chris, first time on the Safe State. Glad to have you here, man. Hope you can come back and join us another time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Where can we find you?
dadlife_B5 on YouTube. Right now, most of my content has been focused on VR, the Meta Quest, but I actually am expanding out to just doing a lot more just dad life gaming content. So, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on Switch too, because like your kids, Bo, my kids are extremely excited for that one. So just talking about, being a dad and playing games and finding games that I can play with my kids. So if that's you guys want to look, see some of that content, you can find me on YouTube, dadlife_B5.
Outstanding.
Great. That's great, man. Well, I have you guys linked in the description below. So if you want to find these guys, just check out the link down there and take you to their channels. And you can find me right here at Bo Knows Gaming. And this week I have a review coming out on not a new retro handheld. It's been out for a couple months, but it was new to me. The Anbernic 406H. It is a handheld that can play up to PS2 and GameCube titles.
Wow.
And down. So, and you can get it right now for about $150. So, it's a pretty neat little Android 13 based retro handheld. Can do quite a bit of stuff, including streaming modern games from your PS5 or your Xbox or Steam, because it's Android based. So that's coming out later, probably this weekend. And what else am I working on? You know what I did? So I got the friends I stayed with in DC this past week. I don't even know how this came up. They don't even know that I do this, by the way. But somehow it came up that the wife had found her Game Boy Color recently, and it wasn't operable. And she was like, I don't know what to do. I put new batteries in it, and it won't turn on. I was like, well, okay. But she's like, the other ones were super corroded. And I was like, well, that's probably part of the problem. Anyway, she let me bring it home. And I'm going to try to repair it and make a video on restoring this Game Boy Color
Nice.
at some point. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited about that. I like tinkering with stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm also on X. You can find me there. Just YouTube.
Yep.
I don't have time for all the other stuff right now. But anyway, this has been episode 31 of The Safe State. Appreciate you guys being with us tonight and talking about all the things. Stay kind and encouraging out there, everyone, and we will catch you on the flippity flip. Peace.